Christians in Motion.
This is one of those verses that I feel gets taken straight out of context sometimes, you know? What now?
But when they call themselves a Christian page and they're posting things that completely go against the Bible, that's where I take issue.
That's not what that verse is saying at all.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Christians in Motion podcast. My name is Kristen. We are on episode 16. This is our last episode before Christmas. Thank you for tuning in and stopping by. Let me tell y'all, been a little bit busy past couple days, but you know what? I always make time for this podcast because it's fun. I like doing it, and apparently people like listening. So, whee! So this week we're talking about fetuses. How many times do you think you get to say that in your life? We're going to talk about fetuses. I mean, unless you happen to teach like biology or you're like an OBGYN at some sort of lecture or seminar or something, I can't imagine that would be a sentence that would just kind of casually come into conversation. We're going to talk about fetuses today. But that's precisely what we're doing today. We're talking about fetuses. So it has happened to me many times that I have been in a discussion about the ethics of abortion, and I use the word fetus, and people correct me. Don't say fetus, say baby, or they'll want me to say unborn child or preborn child. And I don't like that. I don't like that we think of fetus as a bad word. Like, we use the word fetus, it's like we're trying to dehumanize a child in the womb, which is precisely the opposite of what I'm trying to do. So now, believe it or not, this isn't completely random. I was thinking about like what to talk about for Christmas, and I'm like, well, Jesus came to earth as a baby, right? So he would have existed in Mary's womb, and even John, like, he leapt for joy in his mother's womb. You know, there's a lot of talk around Christmas about babies and conception, so I think it's a fairly appropriate thing. And, you know, there was the whole thing with Trump and his don't say fetus thing, and I'm just like, it's not like, using the word fetus doesn't just mean like I heart abortion. Like, fetus, it's a clinical term, right? But we're gonna get into that in just a second. I do, however, want to point out that the language that we use, it does matter. And one thing I have noticed with a lot of the pro-choice arguments is that they're very careful what words they use, because let's be honest, saying, you know, end the pregnancy or terminate the pregnancy, that sounds a lot better than kill the baby or kill the fetus, even if you use the word fetus. So they do rely somewhat on semantics. However, I don't think we should be afraid to use, like I said, simple clinical terms like zygote, embryo, and fetus. So here's the thing. Okay. We do have to recognize that there are different stages of development for a human in the womb, okay? And generally it's around the 8-week mark that a embryo matures to a fetus. Now, fetus is a term that it's not just used with baby humans. This is for a lot of mammals. You would have like an elephant fetus, like that. It sounds weird because we think of it as strictly like a human thing, but no, it would be applied to other mammals as well. I'm being honest. You can Google it, but we can be honest and recognize that there are stages of development for a tiny human in the womb. We can recognize that if you are literally 1 week pregnant, okay, there's a good chance like a lady who is 1 week pregnant, she might not even know. she's pregnant, because it just happened a couple days ago. She's not going to have a big belly. There's a good chance that she hasn't even realized that she's missed a period yet. Like, she may have no idea. Surprise, surprise. And I mean, it's not gonna, at that point in time, being 1 week along in a pregnancy, it's not going to change your body at all. You're not going to feel weird. That doesn't happen till later. We can recognize that a child that is 1 week gestational age is different than a child that is 30 weeks gestational age, right? So, okay, let's say you take a 4-week-old embryo, compare that to, say, a 36-week fetus, okay? There's a difference there. A 4-week-old embryo cannot survive outside of his or her mother's womb. They can't. If you were to remove the embryo at that time, it would 100% for sure die. It cannot grow and develop outside of mom's body. Whereas at 36 weeks, if a woman were to go into labor when she was 36 weeks pregnant, there's a really good chance that that baby will be just fine. And towards the end there, like, literally every day that you can move forward in your pregnancy is good. You want to keep that baby cooking as long as you can, because I know for a fact that one of the last things to develop in the womb is baby's lungs. So babies that are premature, respiratory issues are one of the things they look out for. I'm sure you've all seen pictures of premature babies in the hospital that, poor little things have like the tubes in their nose because the lungs are likely underdeveloped. So as I was saying, I don't think we need to shy away from using the word fetus. Now, if you say baby or you say unborn child, I'm not going to be mad at you because it doesn't bother me. Like, I have a 3-year-old, and sometimes, especially with older folks, they refer to her as a baby. Now, my 3-year-old, she is not a baby. She is not an infant. She is a toddler. But I'm not really a stickler for using the proper terms. Like, if someone refers to my 3-year-old as a baby, I'm not going to get all uppity about it, right? And the same is true for children in the womb. Because I am pro-life, like, if you say fetus or baby or unborn child, I'm not going to correct you. But again, I don't think we need to be afraid to use the word fetus because we're not dehumanizing the human in the womb. See, for the pro-life position, what we're saying is it doesn't matter if the child in the womb is 4 weeks gestational age or 36 weeks. It doesn't matter if they're viable or not. That doesn't matter. What we're saying is from the moment of conception, they are human. What else would they be? We're not talking about an elephant fetus here. We're not talking about a dog or a cat or anything else. It has to be human. That's simple human biology. A human man and a human woman cannot create anything else other than another human. Like, you can't get pregnant with a dog or a cat. Like, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that, right? It has to be human, and it's alive. It can't. It's either alive or it's dead. There's no in between there. You're either alive or you're dead. And if the child in the womb was dead, it would have been a miscarriage, right? So we're saying that from the moment of conception, from the minute sperm meets egg and that egg becomes fertilized, that is human. What else would it be? What other species could it possibly be? There isn't a separate species name for children in the womb. You are a Homo sapien from the moment of conception to the moment of death. Your kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species does not change with age, right? That's kind of basic biology kind of stuff. So like I said, the pro-life position is we're saying it doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter what kind of language you use. It's human and it's alive. And because of that, it is wrong to kill it. It's wrong to end its life. And for those of us that are pro-life Christians, we're saying that that child in the womb, call it a child, call it a baby, call it a fetus, call it a potato, I don't care. Call it whatever you want. It's an image bearer. It's made in the image of God. And we have no right to destroy it. No right at all. My personal thought, and that this is just me, y'all can disagree if you want to, I think we really need to reclaim the word fetus. I do think that there have been instances where people like to use words like zygote, embryo, fetus to dehumanize a child in the womb. And it's like the pro-lifers have kind of fought back and said, well, we're going to call it a baby. We're going to call it a child. I don't think we need to do that. It doesn't matter. We don't need to play the semantics game to make our point. Because the reality is truth is on our side. So it doesn't matter what kind of words we use. And again, yes, language matters, but it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. When we're talking about the ethical position of life, when we're arguing about the ethics of abortion, again, the words don't matter all that much. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope that this is making sense. Right now, the pro-life movement is really picking up momentum, and I just don't want to see us lose that momentum because of something as silly as words, right? I mean, that's just a bummer. So, sorry, President Trump, I got to disagree with you. I don't think we need to ban the word fetus. Use it. Embrace it. I love fetuses. I'm very pro-fetus, so I'm not afraid to use that word. Y'all feel me? But this is where I also just want to kind of talk about this too. This is going to be a pretty short episode because, like I said, it's the week before Christmas, so I gotta do something pretty quick this week. I do have to say though, I'm kind of on board with reforming the pro-life movement, because here's the thing. You know, there are a lot of very good secular arguments against abortion, and I'm very thankful for the non-Christians that are standing with us fighting for the lives of the unborn. I'm very grateful for them, and I want to encourage them to keep doing what they're doing. But there comes a point where you can science all day. Like, you can drop some mad science knowledge and be as logical about abortion as you can be. Because, like I said, truth is on our side, and you can present all the information. You can articulate yourself so well. But there will be people that they know what they're doing. They know that they're ending a human life, and they just don't care. They don't care. And that's where I think the secular pro-life individuals would just kind of shrug their shoulders and say, well, at this point, there's nothing we can do. I mean, what do you say to a person who doesn't care that they are killing human beings? But that's where we as Christian pro-lifers, we would say, no, we don't shrug our shoulders and say, what can you do? We say the gospel can cure that. Because that type of callous that could just take a human life with such a nonchalant attitude, we look at that and say, no, there's hope for that person. There's hope for the person who knows they're killing humans and continues to do it anyway. Because the Christian position says that there is hope for people like Jeffrey Dahmer. There was hope for people like Carla Faye Tucker. There's hope for people like that. There's hope for for the thief, for the murderer, for the most wretched among us. I mean, that is the Christian position, that each and every, like, the cross is a wonderful equalizer. I can't remember where I heard that, but I heard it somewhere and I loved it, and now I say it all the time. But it's true. The cross is a wonderful equalizer, and God's grace is abundant. And like, I feel like a broken record sometimes, and I say that I'm a broken record all the time, which just further affirms that I am a broken record. But Our world is suffering from a sin problem, and Jesus is the cure, right? And whether we're talking about abortion or racism or whatever, gang violence, sexism, whatever we're talking about, sin is the problem. Jesus is the answer. That's the biblical worldview, y'all. Like, Jesus is the answer. He is the cure. He is the remedy to the sin problem in our world. Where Christ is, there is hope. And so the people that can walk into an abortion clinic and continue and knowingly do what they're about to do, and the people that work in abortion clinics, and they see it. They see the result of abortion every single day, and they just don't care. There's hope for those people. And we should remember that. That is what makes the Christian pro-lifer different. And, when we do talk to women that are post-abortive, we do need to remember that there is forgiveness for the sin of abortion. There is forgiveness for that. Like I said, the blood of Christ, it covered a multitude of sins. And I think sometimes it's easy for us to see women who have abortions, or, the doctors that perform them, to just see them as these vile and vicious human beings. But the reality is they're dead in their sin, just like each and every one of us were before we found Christ. And we should remember to approach them with love and grace and mercy and point them to Christ, y'all. I mean, what else can you do? But, so sorry, like I said, sorry, President Trump, I got to disagree with you. We don't need to stop using the word fetus. It's a stage in human development, and we shouldn't be afraid of that. We should embrace it. And especially if, even us Christian pro-lifers, if we're going to use some of the scientific arguments, we shouldn't be afraid of using medical terms. Zygote, embryo, fetus. Look them up. Familiarize yourself with them. As a matter of fact, learn as much as you can about human development inside the womb. It's actually pretty fascinating stuff. But Jesus was once a fetus. I was a fetus once. You were a fetus once. It's a true story. Former fetus right here. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on and talk about that, because especially with the whole you can't say fetus thing that happened, I was like, oh, good Lord. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on board and offer my opinion on that. I don't think fetus is a bad word at all. I think we should use it. But yeah, that's all I have for this week, because it is Christmas week. Like I said, a little busy. I got to run out the door here in like 10 minutes, so I got to wrap it up. So sorry, have to be quick this week. But thank you all so much for listening. If you like what you heard here today, be sure to check out our website, which is christiansemotion.org. And if you want to help us keep doing what we're doing, help us pay for things like podcast hosting and all the various softwares and equipments, that's not right, equipment that we use, consider supporting us on patreon.com/christiansemotion, and you'll get some stuff that other people don't get. Some polls and materials and some fun stuff that the other people, the non-patrons, they don't get. Just kidding. But yeah, if you want some cool VIP only material, come support us on Patreon, and then you'll get it, and it would really help us out a lot, and we would appreciate you forever and ever and ever. Well, as long as you give us money. Just kidding. I will love you and appreciate you forever and ever and ever. Oh gosh. Can you tell it's been a busy week? Can you tell I'm a bit giddy, a bit loopy? But anyway, yeah. Go fetuses. Bye, y'all.